Yeah, yeah, cause girls is players too. Keep playing, baby. Cause girls is players too. Niggas get money all around the world, cause girls is players too. Yeah, what you know about living on the top? Penthouse suites, looking down on the ops. Took a for a cash drop, left them on the lot. Time is money, so I spent that on a watch. Hold on, little titty showing through the white tee. You can see the tongue busting on my tight jean. Okay, rocks on my fingers like that boy white feet. Got another shorty, she ain't nothing like me. Yeah, gotta catch another flight. I'm about to make him wanna bite. I just wanna have a good night. I just wanna have a good night. Older, if you don't, yeah. Cause girls is players too. Yeah, yeah. Cause girls is players too. Keep it player, baby. If you don't know, never know. If you broke, then you gotta let him go. You can have anybody, any money, no. Cause when you a boss, you could do what you want. Player, baby. Yeah. Cause girls is players too. Yeah, yeah. Cause girls is players too. Cause girls is players too. Yeah, money all around the world, cause girls is players too. I go on and on again. He blowing on my phone, but I'm ignoring him. He thinking he the one, I got like four of him. Yeah, I'm sitting first class like valedictorian. Came a long way from back to riches. 5-star bitch, yeah, I taste so delicious. Let him lick the plate, yeah, I make him do the dishes. Now he on news 12, cause the bitch been missing. Sheesh, about to catch another flight. Apple bottom make him wanna bite. Hey, baby. I just wanna have a good night. Hey. I just wanna have a. Check this out. Do you know about the new color purple? Just say yes or no. Do you know about the new color purple? Just say yes or no. Oh, wait till you see this. Guess who is gonna be Whoopi? Oh my God, I'm dying. Hold up. Hold on. I got it. Girls is players too. 23 on it. Cause girls is players too. Yeah, money all around the world, cause girls is players too. Okay, I'm not gonna play with you. I'm not gonna play with you because I know the streets is hot right now. Hold on a second. I'm gonna let you hear. Listen. Hold on.
Want to grab some tissues because the whole thing will have
representing all things. Danielle, hey, how you doing? I am here representing all things purple to tell you that you are our Sophia.
That's Oprah Winfrey surprising Danielle Brooks with the news that she's been cast in the upcoming film adaptation of The Color Purple. And you might want to grab some tissues because the whole thing will have you in your feels.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And you're making me cry.
It all went down when Lady O dropped into the Orange is the New Black Star Zoom interview with ABC News unannounced to let her know that she earned the role of Sophia, the same role Oprah played in the 1985 film.
I did everything.
Sophia.
And luckily, I was discovered. I mean, it's such a Hollywood story, you know. You stay right here. I'm so happy to pass whatever baton from 35.
Guess who's gonna be Whoopi Goldberg? Guess who's gonna be Celie?
Quick origin story. Alice Walker's book, first
Guess who's
published
gonna be
in
Whoopi?
1982, was turned into a film directed by Steven Spielberg in 1985.
I read this book 3 years ago. The best book I'd ever read. one of the most profound stories. I wanted to do it. I prayed to do it. It's
Fantasia.
Divine intervention.
The novel was then
Fantasia.
turned into a Broadway
Baby's
musical that
mama.
debuted in 2005 with a highly acclaimed revival in 2015. And
Fantasia.
Danielle seems like a natural choice for the role, considering she nabbed a Tony nom after playing
Fantasia,
Sophia on
baby.
Broadway in 2016.
I'm playing Sophia. She is the rock, the backbone, the strength. Oprah originated this character, this role, and has brought so much life into this woman, and that will never be forgotten. And now I get to do it myself. I did not get to thank you enough.
Fantasia.
Oh, thank you. I'm so glad I get to tell you face to face. Thank you for the journey that you allowed me to have the first time. I'm gonna make you so proud. I promise.
You already have. You killed that audition. You killed that. You were Sophia, and I wanted to be the one to tell you because I have such love for her, this character, everything she represents, and everything she brought to my life. And what I'm hoping is that she does the same thing for you.
And Oprah isn't kidding. Here she is in 1985, opening up to ET about playing Sophia on the big screen, a role she says symbolized the obstacles she had to overcome.
All my life I had to fight. Everything that's happened to me up until this moment has prepared me to handle what's going on right now. So having been born on the farm in Mississippi,
Hold on, babe.
Born from a broken home, all of that has made me what I am. To me, she represents the bridges that I've crossed over on to get to where I am now. I have been working and waiting 31 years to get to this moment.
Anything that you want to share with me, I will receive it wholeheartedly. So please, because I want to make you proud.
Well, you've already made me proud, and I'll be there on set when you're doing your thing.
The 68-year-old TV icon will produce the film.
Oprah's
alongside
68 years
Spielberg,
old.
Set for a
Damn.
2023 release.
Oprah is
Taraji
68.
Henson, Corey Hawkins, and her are also joining the cast, along with Fantasia Barrino, who will reprise the role of Celie, a role she first portrayed in her 2007 Broadway debut.
Fantasia is Celie, okay? Fantasia is Celie. Hold on.
We're in uncharted territory. The Flash.
Hold on.
Our teacher talks about a place called Africa. She say our mamas come from Queens over there. That means that we royalty. I don't need you to love me.
Guess when it's coming out? Guess when it's coming out?
Leave me a while.
Even if we have to part, you and me, us have one heart. Don't
Get off my land!
you harass you every day. Daddy! Nothing but death can keep me from it.
Christmas.
Oh, Miss Celie.
You must ain't got no kinfolk around these parts.
All I had was my sister. She was the only one ever loved me. I'm gonna hold my head up.
Fantasia's doing the soundtrack.
My soul it's time for you to see the world.
There's gonna be some changes made.
Put it up. This ain't me. Hush. We need to look like we belong. Now see the smile and color. You sweet and loving God.
Oh my God.
Now it's okay.
Oh my God.
Dear Seeley, we are more than just kings and queens. We are at the center of the universe.
Well, Byron, I can speak on this movie because when the movie first came out, I took my mom to see it. Me and my mom went to see it together. And I was so excited that the movie was coming out, you know, because I was so hooked on Whoopi and Oprah Winfrey. And a lot of people were talking bad about the movie, The Color Purple, when it first came out. A lot of Black people did not really want to go and see that movie. They didn't like the movie. But I knew that the movie was going to be a big deal when it first came out. That's why I lined up to go and see it. And I cried like a baby. I loved it. So to see part 2 come out and then have Fantasia. I love Fantasia. And the lady that plays a part in Orange is the New Black. That's a show that was on, I forget what. It was on Amazon or HBO. No, it was on HBO. No, Netflix. Orange is the New Black. But there's a lot of good characters that's going to be on here. I just found out about it. And I'm just excited about that. Fantasia is going to be doing that soundtrack.
To do Seeley on Broadway.
It was very, very, very long.
And that was the hardest time
It was a very long movie.
of my life because my life was so much like Seeley's at the time. So me stepping into her shoes and doing that night after night after night was
Really?
So
well, you're going way, way back. You're going way back. Ooh,
I can't stop. Life has changed. I'm good. I'm happy. I'm married. I'm good. He says, yes, you can. Only you can do it. So I had to pull up some things that I had buried, walked away from. But I felt
What about To Kill a Mockingbird? Do you remember that movie? To Kill a Mockingbird? Have you ever seen that movie? Me too. Have you ever seen To Kill? Oh my God. Okay, yeah. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about.
Coleman, Taraji,
Me too.
Danielle, everybody surrounded me. And I was able to go back into that place. So it means a lot to me because I've come so far. I am Seeley. Wow.
Let me ask you if you know about this. Hold on a second. Hold on.
is one of the worst cases I've ever heard. It is up there with some of the most depraved and barbaric things I've ever heard done to a young person. Over 100 of you have requested this case, over 100. So get ready, because this one's bad. On December 13th, 2019, 911 dispatchers received a disturbing phone call from a Dayton, Ohio father named Al Mudahan McLean regarding his son who was allegedly unresponsive. Rather than focusing on his son's condition, McLean spent most of the call lamenting that Dakota was allegedly disobedient and how difficult it was to be a parent. At one point during the call, when McLean was instructed to initiate CPR, he could be heard audibly retching and then complained, quote, "It smells real rotten inside of his stomach," end quote.
Upon arrival at McLean's 1934 Kensington Drive home in Dayton, Ohio, paramedics found him waiting at the door, and his son, 10-year-old Dakota Collins, battered and bruised from head to toe, lying alone and unresponsive on the living room floor. Dayton Police Officer Evans also responded as paramedics tended to Dakota. To allow the medics to work without distraction, Officer Evans engaged McLean in conversation on the porch, during which McLean continued to rant and rave about his uncivilized and uncontrollable son.
Although paramedics focused on attempts to resuscitate Dakota, the evidence of neglect and harm done to him were clearly present all over his body. When the paramedics indicated that Dakota had passed away and that there was nothing more that could be done to save him, McLean's response to the news of the death of his own son was, quote, "All right, I tried to get you guys here as fast as I could," end quote.
Dakota was transported to the hospital for further examination. Upon arrival, Dr. Leiker, an expert in pediatrics specializing in CA, had an opportunity to externally examine his battered remains. Dr. Leiker noted hundreds of lacerations, abrasions, and bruises to Dakota's head, scalp, face, mouth, including the inside of it, his neck, his chest, his abdomen, arms, hands, legs, and feet, basically everywhere on his body. Patterned abrasions were noted on his chest as well as his abdomen and legs. Older scars were seen on his torso and extremities. Injuries, lacerations, and bruising were also visible externally in his private areas.
According to Dr. Leiker, the extent and nature of the injuries were not consistent with accident or self-infliction. They were the result of severe physical harm on numerous occasions over a sustained period of time. Many of the injuries were in areas that are very difficult to bruise. Dr. Leiker noted that many of the injuries were located in areas often considered to be defensive locations, as they are the areas of the body, such as the back of the arms and posterior of the body, that are exposed when one tries to protect themselves from strikes.
She also noticed evidence of prior rib fractures that were not visible in Dakota's medical records. Dr. Leiker also noted pruning on Dakota's hands, like one would note if they've been in water for too long.
As disturbing as the external presentation of Dakota's injuries were, it was the internal examination performed by Deputy Coroner Dr. Brian Casto that told the true depth and extent of the harm inflicted on Dakota. The autopsy confirmed extensive injuries, abrasions, and contusions to the head, torso, and extremities. Evidence of fresh injuries as well as old injuries were both present on Dakota.
With respect to Dakota's head, Dr. Casto found even more injuries as the bruising was hidden in his hair. External autopsy photos show bruising around Dakota's right forehead, right chin, inside the upper and lower lip, and in the left nasal opening. The internal examination explored the depth and gravity of those injuries. When Dakota's scalp was peeled back, deep bruising was observed in all areas of the head.
External contusions and petechia, which are pin-sized red spots due to bleeding, were noted on Dakota's chest. An internal examination revealed internal bruising to his stomach. Dakota's backside also showed severe external and internal injuries. There was severe pulmonary edema, which is fluid in the lungs, and they concluded that it was related to prolonged submersion in water. Dr. Casto also observed fractures of numerous ribs.
Dakota's digestive system was also examined, and what was found was shocking. His stomach had contents that were a tan yellow puree type consistency, which appeared identical in color and consistency to that of human waste.
An external examination of Dakota's backside and the back of his legs showed healed scars and fresh bruising. Branding was also found on Dakota's back. Due to its location, it would have been nearly impossible for Dakota to have done this himself.
However, the internal examination was most telling relating to the trauma of these injuries. The entirety of his backside, all the way to the bone, was bruised and swollen with a significant injury to his private areas. Observed were 2 half-inch lacerations. Internal examination showed the depth and damage of this injury. The internal examination of Dakota's pelvic area revealed an abundance of blood associated with the injury.
The most significant injury as it related to Dakota's death was not even visible externally. It was severe bruising to the back of the neck. Internal examination of this area revealed deep bruising through all the layers of neck muscle directly over the spine. Dr. Casto described this bruising as the type of injury typically only observed in catastrophic events, such as severe car accidents. Dr. Casto ruled the cause of death for 10-year-old Dakota Collins as blunt force trauma, combined with compressive asphyxia and water submersion, with the manner of death listed as homicide.
While Dakota was examined, law enforcement remained at the Kensington address with his father, Almudahan McLean. Shortly after Dakota's remains were transported, McLean's partner Amanda Hines and her sister Jennifer Ebert returned to the residence with a 3-year-old who was later determined to be McLean's brother. Although McLean initially maintained that just he and Dakota lived at the Kensington residence, it was later confirmed that he, Hines, Ebert, Dakota, and the 3-year-old all lived there.
When police arrived, they originally stayed on the ground level of the home. However, they were eventually given permission to search the entire residence. The ground floor was furnished, there was running water and food in the refrigerator. There appeared to be a security system as the TV in the living room showed live video of the outside. Family photos and photos of pets were hung on the walls throughout the home. However, there were absolutely no photos of Dakota.
There was a bedroom that belonged to McLean and Hines, along with a mudroom that had been converted into a spare bedroom for Ebert. There was also a bedroom consistent with the needs of a 3-year-old with age-appropriate toys and clothing. But there was no room set up for Dakota, no age-appropriate toys, school books, or clothing for a 10-year-old. Nor was there a bedroom for Dakota set up in the basement, only a room for the dogs with crates and a dirty cement floor littered with excrement.
In the living room, there was a door that led to the attic, an area that authorities soon learned to be where Dakota was being kept. As the detectives went up the stairs, they noticed an overwhelming smell of human waste. Due to there not being a light source in the attic, they had to use flashlights to further investigate. The attic was devoid of any personal effects aside from a broken chair. 2 legs from the broken chair were recovered downstairs, one stuck behind the television, and the other in a laundry basket outside the bathroom. There were no clothes, no books, no toys, only filth, excrement, and insects.
Deep inside of the attic was another room secured with a lock. When the room was unlocked, detectives found a bloody tarp and a filthy lawn chair, which they discovered was Dakota's bedding when he was permitted to have it. Detectives also found a dismantled video camera that had been used by the 3 adults to watch Dakota, which, per Hines, had been disconnected by McLean after Dakota became unresponsive, but before he called 911.
Dakota originally did have a bedroom in the home. However, he lost the room after McLean and Hines took custody of McLean's 3-year-old brother, and Dakota was sent to the attic. After leaving the Kensington residence, the investigation continued, including interviews of the residents, teachers, and other individuals, as well as review of the evidence gathered. As the details unfolded, it became clear that the only thing more horrific than the facts of Dakota's death were conditions he was made to live in at the hands of his father, his father's partner, and her sister.
On January 5, 2015, Dakota was enrolled at Horace Mann Elementary School at the age of 7. Although they were unsure of Dakota's specific needs, his teachers recognized that he could benefit from a little help. Although he did not have issues at school with proper restroom usage, he was sent to school daily smelling of human waste. He was also sent to school with embarrassing and potentially painful haircuts, making him vulnerable to ridicule, in addition to the ridicule he already faced from the odor.
The school tried their very best to help with Dakota, providing him with donated clothing to wear during the day while they washed his soiled ones. Teachers sent Dakota to the school nurse who would assist him with these issues. When notified of what was going on, McLean refused assistance and was enraged with staff interventions, further demanding that the school nurse not see Dakota for any reason at all.
Ebert noted that McLean would give Dakota weird haircuts, knowing that it would cause him ridicule. Hines noted, and teachers confirmed, that McLean wanted daily updates from teachers. Hines would get those reports and then relay them to McLean.
If they were anything but glowing, unbeknownst to his teachers, it would result in severe discipline for Dakota. Based on the account of Hines, Dakota was ordered to stand in the living room and hold a loaded book bag. Most days of the week, from the time he got home from school until it was bedtime, this was Dakota's life. On weekends, if Dakota did not have a good report card, he would be made to stand in this position in the living room for the entire day. Dakota was an active and rambunctious youth, so it was no surprise that he didn't receive a perfect report from the school daily. However, because of this, Dakota's life was a living hell when he was at home.
McLean was furious with Horace Mann Elementary and blamed the school for repeatedly sending CPS to his house. However, when CPS did come, the family was prepared. McLean and Hines instructed Ebert and Dakota on how to act when the door was knocked on, which was to stay behind a locked door and not be heard. Then McLean and Hines would schedule a time for CPS to return.
McLean had Dakota prepared to answer their questions. He was to tell them nothing and act perfectly happy. CPS had a host of resources to offer the family, including connecting them to medical or psychological services. Sorry about Prada's meowing. However, McLean declined their assistance. He blamed the school and Dakota for their intrusions and would take his rage out on Dakota after every time they came, beating him, throwing him, kicking him, body slamming him. Any marks left behind would be covered by long sleeves and pants. For those that weren't here for last week's episode, I want to quickly address sponsors in true crime. I know some people believe that true crime channels, podcasts, or even TV shows should have no sponsors because we're talking about horrific events. Please know that honoring those that have suffered is the utmost priority to us. We spend a minimum of 40 hours each week on every episode on top of our full-time jobs. Sponsors help us cover our hosting fees as well as tools we use to produce these episodes for you. This is no disrespect to Dakota. We want to keep bringing you the best content possible. With that said, I want to introduce the sponsor to this episode. We'll be back in a minute to continue Dakota's case.
This episode has been brought to you by Ana Luisa, who's offering our listeners an exclusive 20% off their entire collection.
Ana Luisa is a jewelry brand with a simple but clear-cut idea that high-quality jewelry shouldn't cost the planet.
Their metals are recycled whenever possible, and their gemstones are ethically sourced. Best of all, Ana Luisa is 100% carbon and water neutral, including their packaging.
Ana Luisa offers fair pricing, with jewelry starting just at $39. Each piece is released in limited batches every Friday and are put through rigorous stress tests so that way you can wear your jewelry with confidence.
Metals used are always safe, nickel-free, and hypoallergenic. My favorite piece is the Lev silver heart necklace. It's simple yet classy, and it looks great with both a casual outfit or dressed up for a night out.
And for me, I've been enjoying the mini huggy hoops and the Hanalee earrings in silver.
Go to shop.analuisa.com/misery. That's ANALUISA. Again, that's ANALUISA.com/misery and enjoy 20% off the entire Ana Luisa website today.
Thanks, and back to the episode.
Fed up with the repeated interference, in May of 2018, McLean and Hines withdrew Dakota from school, the one place where Dakota found at least a momentary refuge during the day. In order to keep the school out of their business, McLean and Hines wrote falsified educational plans, claiming that Hines, who represented herself as his stepmother, would be homeschooling Dakota. By then, Dakota was largely confined to the attic for the majority of every single day.
Originally, Dakota had full reign of the entire attic. However, in November of 2018, he allegedly launched himself through a window. leaving McLean and Hines no other option but to take him to the hospital. At that time, there was not an allegation of CA on record, and social workers and doctors treated Dakota in the presence of McLean and Hines, who again represented herself as a mother figure to Dakota.
During that visit, psychological counseling was recommended as part of an aftercare plan. However, the family did not follow through with making appointments. When social workers called McLean and Hines to assist in setting up that appointment, that help was declined too.
During this time, McLean did call the juvenile court to inquire about services for juveniles under the age of 10. The court does in fact have a program to offer services to families struggling with mental health or behavioral issues. However, when McLean learned it was therapeutic help and would not result in Dakota being locked up, he declined that assistance too.
After his visit to the hospital, Dakota was moved to the basement while McLean walled off the windows in the attic. When Dakota returned to his attic confinement, it was now a smaller area, deprived of external light. Afterwards, McLean and Hines made sure Dakota was locked up in the attic to avoid his escape.
In the attic, Dakota was deprived of clothing, and by the time of his death, Ebert confirmed that all of his clothes had been thrown out. Yet despite this, if Dakota came down to use the restroom without his clothes, he would be subject to discipline. His father only allowed Dakota to use the restroom at night, after McLean's brother went to bed and accused him of trying to show off his unclothed body to McLean's 3-year-old brother. To further humiliate him, McLean began to call him slurs and would refer to him by using girls' names.
Once confined to the attic, Dakota spent all day, every day in painful poses created by McLean. All 3 adults watched him from the comfort of their living room television. They had installed a camera to monitor him. If Dakota moved out of these horrific poses, Ebert or Hines would advise McLean of the movement so he could beat Dakota for disregarding the rules. An iPad recovered from the home had images of Dakota in these excruciating positions. He was made to stand with no clothes on, in a dark attic, bent over so that his hands were touching the floor. He was to hold this pose from when he woke till the early hours of the morning.
But the details surrounding the harm of Dakota only got worse. As McLean spoke to 911 dispatchers, as well as Officer Evans and detectives, he repeated a theme about how Dakota would not stop eating his own waste. However, McLean failed to mention that it was he that physically made Dakota perform this dehumanizing act. Per Ebert, and later confirmed by Hines, it started as a disciplinary action handed down by McLean.
McLean became enraged that Dakota, who was confined to the attic without access to a bathroom, had no choice but to use the floor. McLean commanded Dakota to eat his own wastes, and when Dakota refused, McLean physically made him do so. Dakota tried to refuse, but McLean made sure that he had no escape. After that, Dakota knew that he was expected to do this or face further suffering.
The last hours of Dakota's life were detailed by Hines and Ebert. McLean had been out drinking, and when he came home, he took his anger out on Dakota. Ebert from another room heard Dakota crying and saying no more. Hines dozed off on the couch and woke to McLean punching Dakota hard in his stomach, consistent with the internal bruising visible at autopsy.
The next morning, before the 3-year-old woke up, Ebert called for Dakota to come down to use the restroom. Dakota was walking, but he was holding on to the walls. He would wobble and fall and then stand back up. McLean's response was to elbow Dakota hard in the back and order him back upstairs.
Once back upstairs, McLean gave instructions to put away his folding chair and perform his discipline pose. Because Dakota did not move fast enough, McLean decided to take things further. As Dakota laid down on his stomach, McLean stood on his back, forcing all of his weight, even reaching to the ceiling to push down extra hard on Dakota's body, crushing him. This is a man that's over 200 pounds.
After this, McLean again had Dakota stand in the same pose and went downstairs to watch TV with Ebert and the 3-year-old, all the while yelling up at Dakota, calling him a mama's girl, as well as slurs that we cannot say here. McLean then took a bottle of hot sauce up to pour on Dakota's backside. McLean readily admitted that pouring hot sauce on Dakota's private areas was something that he did frequently, even daily in the last weeks of his life, according to Ebert. He had called it one of his parenting tools.
Still not satisfied that Dakota was sufficiently compliant, McClain threw him around some more, grabbed him by the ears, and dragged him down the steps. He took Dakota into the bathroom and told him to clean his shorts. When Dakota again did not move fast enough, he was told to move faster or he was going to drown. Ebert from the living room then heard splashing and Dakota gasping for air.
McClain took Dakota back upstairs, and from the monitor, Ebert could see him laying on the lawn chair in the fetal position as McClain stood behind him. While McClain was standing behind Dakota, Ebert could see him making a repetitive motion with his hands. McClain's arm was going back and forth by Dakota's rear end, and Ebert thought McClain could have been using the hot sauce. But when he came back downstairs, he tossed the chair leg that he had apparently used on Dakota behind the dresser.
McClain admitted during his interviews that the chair leg had damaged Dakota's insides, but he denied that he was the one that shoved it in there. He tried to explain the injury was self-inflicted by telling detectives that he saw Dakota stick it inside himself. He went on to describe asking Dakota to pull it out. McClain later told detectives, quote, "That's the kind of stuff he was into," end quote, before quickly assuring detectives, without them asking any questions about this, that McClain himself was very straight.
Finally, McClain changed the story to Dakota fighting to keep the chair leg inside of him, and that he had to wrestle him to get it out. McClain claimed that he had took him to the tub to clean him up, but saw the injury was not too bad, which was wholly inconsistent with the actual injury inflicted to Dakota per his autopsy. After McClain came back downstairs and discarded the chair leg, Dakota never made another sound. He no longer would have to incur the wrath of his caretaker.
All adults in the home were arrested and charged in Dakota's death on December 14th. While in the police cruiser, McClain again only seemed concerned for himself and the conviction he was likely to receive, not about the death of his son. McClain asked the officer, quote, "You can get the death penalty though, right?" End quote. To which the officer responded, "That's up to the prosecutors, that's not up to us." McClain's concerns about the death penalty did not end up playing a role in his case. Prosecutors said they charged McClain with all possible charges, including homicide. However, surprisingly, none of the charges carried death penalty specifications.
Dakota's father, Almudahan McClain, pled guilty to S.A. in endangering the welfare of a minor. He was sentenced to 51 years to life in prison and will need to register as a Tier 3 offender. McClain's girlfriend, Amanda Hines, was then sentenced to 22 to 27 and a half years in prison for her role in Dakota's death. Hines and her sister, Jennifer Ebert, pled guilty to involuntary manslaughter and multiple counts of endangering the welfare of a minor. Ebert was sentenced to 8 years in prison for her role. All three defendants received credit for time served, which is more than 600 days for each of them. McClain will be in his 80s before he is eligible for parole.
One might be asking, where was Dakota's mother when all of this was happening? Well, in 2008, his biological mother, Robin Collins, lost custody of him in a Dane County family court after harming him when he was still a baby, and went to jail on additional charges.
A person can only call and tell you so much of you not doing anything that they feel like them calling isn't doing anything. If they called 17 times, under not even including the times that I've called, then and nobody's being done, or maybe they're thinking, oh, maybe they investigated and there's nothing going on, or maybe I'm just, thinking too much of it, or maybe there's something else, and maybe that's what happened.
After spending some time in foster care, Dakota was eventually awarded to his father, McClain, with full custody in 2013. In 2014, McClain got permission from the judge to leave the state for Pennsylvania. Instead of doing so, he went to Dayton, purchased the house, and Dakota's mother and grandmother were unable to track him down.
But McClain already had a criminal history. At the time, he had pled guilty to a misdemeanor for beating and choking a man. 3 days after the custody decision, he was charged with beating Hines with a metal pole. Those charges were dismissed when Hines decided to not cooperate with the police.
Allegedly, family court judges who are constantly processing custody and divorce cases aren't required to check the addresses or follow up on moves in most instances. It's not legally part of a court's role to follow up on address changes out of state. If CPS was involved, where records would be off limits to the public, it would be CPS that would be responsible for checking on those cases and ensuring the right case information was passed to the state where the family moved. But privacy laws mean it's not known if CPS was playing a role in Dakota's case at the time of the move. When reached for comment, Wisconsin's DCF office said they couldn't confirm or deny whether Dakota had ever been in the system. If you appreciate this video, know that we have put a lot of time in.
Years of his life terrified. Evidence shows he was beaten, locked in an attic, and forced to eat his own feces.
He was 10 years old when he died last month, and we are continuing to search for answers as to why this was allowed to continue for as long as it did. Tonight, we hear from Dakota's mom for the first time. Amy Reed shares her story.
It's kind of so surreal right now, but it's real, but it's not real.
After hearing what happened to her son, Robin Collins feels a lot.
I'm angry. I'm more angry than anything. I'm more angry that my son, who was 10 years old, 5 days before he turned 11, is dead.
She blames the system, courts, and custody and protective services for what happened. She blames herself, too.
Beyond a shadow of doubt, they failed him. Wisconsin failed him. Ohio failed him. My family, me, we all failed him. We have to take some of that responsibility. As his mother, I have to take that responsibility. I feel guilty as hell.
Last month, 10-year-old Dakota Collins died. An autopsy showing severe abuse in the form of beatings, neglect, and isolation. Now under intense scrutiny where it happened, in his home in Dayton, Ohio. But privacy laws make this case difficult to track. Blame is hard to place, or rather, too easy to place, in many hands. What got us here started in Dane County back in 2013. Robin was not allowed full custody, at least in part due to problems with addiction. The court allowed Dakota's father, Al Matahan McLean, to take the child out of state, though not to Dayton. Around the same time, there were multiple cases showing the father's criminal history. One where he hit a stranger and put him in a chokehold over a cell phone he thought was stolen. Another where witnesses saw him hit his ex-girlfriend with a pipe and give her a beatdown like they'd never seen. Robin Collins said she tried to let the state know what she was seeing. She sent letters raising concerns and filed a contempt order with the court saying the father was not following visitation rules. The state agency that handles child welfare cases can't comment on the case or confirm whether they knew about it. But a spokesperson said typically someone would have to let them know to look into the abuse, not just the courts. Lawyers and judges aren't mandatory reporters.
Regional dispatch. Hi, I need to speak with somebody about doing a welfare check on my son, who I believe is in danger right now.
Robin also called police.
And I don't know how you guys do things or how it works or anything, but I believe that his father is abusing him and hurting him, and that he's too scared to tell anybody because his father won't let him talk to anybody.
Her attempts seem to lead nowhere.
Okay, we'll go ahead and get an officer out there.
Since the news hit Dayton, we've learned other people tried to alert authorities. Teachers reported to Child Services in Ohio. His older brother tried to tell police. Nothing. Robin hopes Dakota's story changes things.
And the only thing that can come good out of this is to save another child's life. So the system needs to be fixed. CPS needs to be fixed. All of this stuff that happened that failed him, this stuff needs to be fixed.
Amy Reed.
Or another child is going to lose their life because of it.
News 3 now.
I'm Adam Ryan. For the first time, we're hearing from the mother of Dakota Collins, the 10-year-old Dayton boy who died last month. Authorities say he suffered extreme abuse. Today, dozens of people gathering at a vigil. 2 News reporter Kristen Naskow live in the newsroom after speaking with the boy's mother.
Dakota Collins' mother came from Wisconsin to attend the vigil today. She did not have custody of the boy, but says she complained to Children's Services here in Ohio and in Wisconsin about alleged abuse before her son's death as early as May of last year. Now, right now, Dakota's father, Al Mutahan McLean, his girlfriend, Amanda Hinsey, and her sister, Jennifer Ebert, remain in the Montgomery County Jail. They're facing several charges, including abuse and child endangerment. More charges could soon follow. Now, Dakota Collins' mother, Robin Collins, tells us she went to Child Protective Services offices where she lives in Wisconsin in May to complain about her son's care under his father, who had custody. She says she also called Children's Services here in Montgomery County and also called 911 to ask for a welfare check. She says police called her back afterward, but she claims she never heard from Children's Services here or in Wisconsin after raising concerns. The documents we've previously uncovered show staff members with Dayton Public Schools complained 17 times to Montgomery County Children's Services about suspicions of abuse.
A person can only call and tell you so much of you not doing anything that they feel.
Horrific case of abuse and torture that this court has ever seen. Also today, justice served for a murdered 10-year-old boy this morning. The father of 10-year-old Dakota Collins was sentenced to 51 years to life today in Montgomery County Court. Al McLean tortured and murdered Collins in 2019. 10 News reporter Madeline Ashley is live downtown with sentencing details. A county prosecutor plans to make corrections in our child care systems. Madeline.
John, I'm standing outside the Montgomery County Courthouse where earlier today, County Prosecutor Matt Heck said there were many times that child service workers could have stepped in and potentially saved Collins' life, and now Heck and his team are working to right those wrongs, fixing a system that failed one of its own.
You were very good at manipulating children's services and what you told them. Even with plenty of blame to go around, it is you alone abused, tortured, and killed your son.
Along with McLean's sentencing, live-in fiancée Amanda Hines sentenced to a minimum 22 years, and her sister Jennifer Ebert a minimum of 8 years. McLean's sentencing included rape by force, 1 count of murder by felonious assault, kidnapping, and 3 counts of child endangerment.
But we had one goal, and I had one goal, and that is never, ever let what happened to Dakota Collins happen to any other child in our community.
Following the sentencing, Montgomery County Prosecutor Matt Heck and his team vowing to strengthen the system and do right by our county's most vulnerable children.
My office and I have had meetings with everyone from teachers to caseworkers, law enforcement, to caregivers in an effort to overhaul how child abuse investigations are reported, how they're handled and investigated.
This year alone, the county's Child Protection Unit has seen an increase of more than 30% in children's service cases turned over to Heck's office.
While I'm certain it isn't a perfect system, it is a vast improvement over how it was done in the past.
Dakota Collins' December 2019 death caused by water submersion, blunt force trauma, and asphyxia. During McLean's sentencing, Judge Dennis Atkins addressing what McLean did to his son.
What you did was pure evil. You provided no mercy to your son and deserve no mercy from this court.
McLean will be eligible for parole once he hits his 51-year sentencing, and Prosecutor Heck says that he encourages anybody who might be experiencing child abuse or know someone who is to reach out for help. If you hear something, say something. Live in Dayton, Madeline Ashley, 5 on 2.
Not only are they secretive, but they are very protective of their core. You understand what I'm saying? Very protective of their core, very unwilling, okay, and unable to be vulnerable. Most of them, they have a narcissist called a vulnerable narcissist, but it's almost like an oxymoron type statement, because the narcissist basically gives you, I guess in the whole thing of being, that title is like an oxymoron title, because in the whole scheme of the narcissist, I guess, being open and vulnerable to you, they're not. So they're only feeding, they're only feeding you information that they want to feed to you. A narcissist will never allow you or give you willing access to their core. But I'm going to teach you all something in this video about how to access the core of a narcissist, because they're so fake. They always want to know everything about you, but you all never really know what makes these clowns tick. What can you do to access the true nature or to get to the core of who they are? I'm gonna teach you right here. All right, let's go. Accessing the core of a narcissist. One thing that you have to understand is no contact is huge, okay? No contact really hurts a narcissist. It really does, because you cut off their fuel supply, okay? And that's just like with a narcissist, that's like cutting off their, that's basically just like cutting off their breath. You know what I'm saying? It's like almost like you pull the life source from them, okay? So that's bad. But what's worse than that is this right here. Y'all hit that like button. Let's go. What is worse than taking away a narcissist supply? And what allows you to access the core of who they are is what you think and know about them. Watch this. So a narcissist prides themselves on being able to manipulate you. What they do is they lie to you. They build this whole grandiose personality of who they want you to see them as. Okay, so that all of that is done through ego, because they don't want you to know at the core who they truly are. Okay. But as you get to going in the addiction ship with the narcissist, and as you move along, you begin to notice certain things about them and all types of negative traits about who these clowns really are. So in order to access the core and to really hit a narcissist where it hurts, you gotta go dig deep in there, and you gotta find those words, because you remember that old saying where it says sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me. See, a narcissist can call you names all day long. Okay, they can call you names all day long. They can tell you and they can be real ugly with their mouths. I know y'all gonna drop a comment below. They done called y'all all kinds of everything. Not to mention what they said behind our backs. Okay, not to mention that. So we want to talk about that. But if you really want to destroy a narcissist, you really want to access their core and really see what they're made of, I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna drop some names in this video, and I know y'all gonna testify in the comment section below. Those birds cannot stand when you address them by their true names. Why? Because demons don't like being identified. They want to hide. They want to do everything that they can inside of an individual. They want to cause the individual to act out and be stupid. Y'all hit that like button, please. But they don't want to be identified. I know y'all gonna talk about it. One of the main names that they hate, call them a loser. And I don't recommend y'all do this. I don't recommend you do it, because some narcissists can be very, their behavior, they can be very volatile. You don't want to get into it, but I'm gonna tell you, this is how you access the core. When they taking you through that devaluation stage and y'all rocking and reeling, you ever drop the name like you just a loser. You're just a loser, man. That narcissist. Oh, another one. Call them a deadbeat. A deadbeat you're just a deadbeat. All you, man, when I tell you names, and I'm going to tell you, I'm just going to drop a few. I know y'all going to drop some below in the comment section. Call them lazy. Because they are. They some lazy individuals. If you said anything like this, now let me tell you, I got a few more. But these words right here, let me tell you what it does. When you call them nothing, you're just nothing. You're an idiot. You know, I don't even understand. And most of y'all probably, they really had to really make you angry for you to start in on them. But see, they can call you all of these names. And they are complete lies. You know what I'm saying? You tell them, you know, you're just trash. You know, I'm trash. See, because what you think about a narcissist really matters. It really, when you start to hurl out words like this at them, they can't take it. Because I'm going to tell you, you tell them they're a liar. You know, they're a cheater, a moron. Some of y'all even call them demons. When you start to address them by names like this right here rocks them to their, I mean, first of all, it allows you to access the core. You want to really get some true emotion out of them, which is really nothing but anger, rage, and shame. Those are their true emotions. If you really want to access their true emotions, these words right here, something like this, when y'all, if you ever wanted to hurt a narcissist, that's how you hurt them right there. That no contact will buckle them. But these words right here would drop them to their knees. Why? Because it reminds them of the trauma that they suffered as a child. That part right there. And guess what? In a moment like that, it's a very reflective moment. It is a moment that takes them back to that stage, to that date and that time of trauma. And what those demonic forces begin to do is they begin to lash out at that narcissist, like, why are you allowing us to be exposed like that? And they begin to torment the narcissist. And that's why you see them act out the way that they do. Because demons don't like being called out. Even when you see them in deliverance. They will hide in deliverance. They don't want you to call their names. But see, by the power of God, the power of God will show you who is in there. And you begin to call out their names, they begin to manifest. And that's what happens with a demon. That's what happens with a demon, and that's what happens with a narcissist. You begin to call these names out right here. All you're doing is calling out what's inside of them. Yes! Y'all hit that like button, please. This is the way you access their core. This is how, if you really want to hurt a narcissist, you tell them, you know, if you really ever wanted to hurt them, now you could call them all kinds of everything. You could call them B, MF, or I don't recommend you do that. Don't talk like that. But if you call them that ain't nothing. When you start digging into them like this, tell them they're a pervert. They're all of that. And then the male narcissist, tell them that the male narcissists that are claiming to be straight, and you turn around and tell them that they, you think that they're practicing an alternative lifestyle or call them gay, man, you want to see them go off. Even though they know that undercover they probably are, they got those tendencies. If you call them that, I know y'all gonna testify. I'm telling y'all, this right here, y'all think no contact is bad. No contact is bad. But if you really want to hit them at the core of who they are, you hit them with this right here. You're just a mistake. Why did you happen? Why did you happen? I can't understand. This right here, when you are wanting to get, and the reason I'm sharing this with you is that when you leave a narcissist and you really want to get this off of your mind and off of your chest, if you want to just lay that narcissist to rest and probably never want to contact you again, you tell them, you know what I observed in this addiction ship with you is that you were just a lazy loser. The more I tried to give to you, I had to realize that you were just a deadbeat, that you were just nothing but trash. You're a liar. You're a cheater. You're a manipulator. You're just a demon. You say words like that to them. When they just like, I just want to have a conversation with you face to face, because they always want to do a face to face conversation. But when you just lay it out on the line and you just let them know this is what I observed about you. Now, you don't have to agree with me, but these are my opinions and I am entitled to my opinions. Guess what? It's not name calling when it's the truth. Hello. Did you hear what I said? It is not name calling when it's the truth. It's the truth. Call me a lie. Where's the lie? When it's the truth, it's not name calling. And all of this about a narcissist, the way they treated you and what you observed, it's the absolute truth. Now, some people are like, well, you know, that is not their name and that's not. Well, if they took all your money and they didn't give anything back to you, or they gave you very minimal, they wouldn't take care of their kids, wouldn't do any of that. What about a deadbeat is name calling if that's what they were? That part. So, family, the reason I'm sharing this with you is I want you to understand that no contact is bad. But when you want to access the core of a narcissist, when you really want to drop them to their knees, you let them know the truth about who they are. Baby, let me tell you something. Baby. Oh, they can't take that. No, ma'am. And this is the type of reality that you have to bring to them. When they want to have that conversation, you let them know this is what I observed and this is what I felt like you were to me. Now, don't do it if you got a narcissist that's violent and they can't take that. But I'm going to tell you something. It's a very sobering reality to them. And it reminds them of their trauma. And it calls out their demons and they don't like it. All right, family? So y'all pass this on to somebody else that can use this information. Y'all drop a comment below. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe to the channel. All right, family?
They're real one. They wear a mask. They act all tough and confident. But really, they are pathetic little cowards. They are like puffer fish. They puff themselves up to scare others. But narcissists are hollow shells. They are barely even people. The only way that they survive is by feeding off of the chaos and destruction that they cause. Feeding off of the suffering of others. Narcissists target you because you are their biggest threat. You don't put up with their lies. You don't put up with their insanity. You call it like you see it. But that was your mistake. You did not play it smart. You told them you knew the truth. That these people are evil, and you know their plan. Well, this doesn't go over too well. This makes you their number one threat. And narcissists like this, they lack a target to give all their abuse to, because they are scared of you. Narcissists only survive in a world of lies. So if someone is aware to them and does not put up with it, they know they have to do something. They hate you and they hate the truth. They are scared of it. It is like holy water to them. So they try to destroy you from the inside out. They try to condition you to be codependent. By destroying your independence, they will condition you to not do things that are good for you. Say that you don't need to or that is bad. Or they will guilt trip you by playing the victim card. They will destroy your self-worth and self-esteem to make you dependent on their little drippings of validation. Among all the abuse that they dish out, it is pure evil what they do, but this is their game. This is how they try to make you their slave. If the narcissist is not scared of you, then why would they do the smear campaign? In usual narcissist fashion, they are trying to destroy the truth, and destroy the truth for people willing to stand up for it. So they have to try their hardest to discredit you. The toxic idiots will believe them, and the people that are smart enough to see through it will run away and think you are toxic by association. So the narcissist creates their own army, because they are weak by themselves. They are still capable of a lot by themselves because they have no conscience holding them back. But recognize the reason why they have to employ an army of minions is because they are hollow people with no backbone. Narcissists cling to validation and they try to make you like that too. To cling to their validation. but narcissists need it from everyone else. They will throw their insanity around to everyone, with most running away in the opposite direction from these toxic people. But on some it will stick. The weak losers, people similar to the narcissist. Because no healthy person would be involved in this, and even if they were, they would eventually smarten up to it. The narcissist is so jealous of you. This is why they have to sabotage you. This is why they have to have their ego stroked. If not by you, then all their enablers. They are so jealous. That's why they have to sabotage your life. They do sabotage you from the inside by poisoning your mind with their implanted self-destructive thoughts. But they also sabotage you from the outside. They try to destroy all the relationships you have. The relationships with healthy people, because these people can be a lot more powerful than the weak-willed people that the narcissist surrounds themselves with. So they destroy these relationships. Then they destroy your work, your job or business. They try to get you in trouble with the authorities by making up lies or framing you for things you didn't do. And they use the same tactics to sabotage your work. If you have a job or business, then they will find some way to destroy it. Maybe they will figure out a way to hack you and then delete or destroy it from the inside. They could just delete what you have been doing. Or they could post fake things about you on the internet. So yes, the narcissist is jealous of you. And they are most definitely scared of you. That is why they do all these things in an attempt to destroy you. Do not let their fake confidence fool you. Remember, the narcissist is a world-class actor to be able to lie so much, so don't fall for it. When you realize how scared they are of you, then you no longer think of yourself as helpless against their wrath. Because they do these things because they are scared of you. And you don't need to be scared of them. Thank you for watching. Please donate. Dr. Z!
Of your presence. This is how they react. Narcissists try to mask their envy and pride by portraying themselves as modest people who just want to succeed. They are completely committed to achieving their objectives. They are completely focused on financial gain. And they take great pleasure in spending money on items designed to improve their appearance and draw others' attention. It's not enough for the narcissist to feel envious. They also crave admiration. They would like you to admire them and hold favorable opinions about them. The more money and success you have, the more they're envious of you and want to destroy you. They'd rather you didn't succeed at all, so they will do everything in their power to keep you away from your goal. They have no interest in having you on an equal footing with them. To make a narcissist angry and jealous, all they need to know is that someone in their group or social circle is more successful than they are. Narcissists are never content, even when it appears that they have more than everyone else. They still crave for more. Can this unhappiness really be contained? Okay, so let's get going. My intention for today's discussion precisely matches this topic. But first, thanks for watching this video. Be sure to not miss any updates by subscribing and activating the notification bell if you haven't already. Alright, let's get started. Now we're going to talk about discontentment, which is one of the ailments of the narcissist that they carry with them their whole lives. The feeling of not being happy with where you are or what you have in life is called discontentment. Because they are only interested in themselves, narcissists can't find happiness in any part of their lives. Their home life and relationships as a whole are full of things that make them unhappy. This includes romantic relationships as well as spiritual ones. So, a narcissist doesn't feel satisfied even if they have beautiful children and a loving, devoted partner. They will cheat on their partner, ignore their kids, and hurt anyone else who lives with them. The narcissist likes to look for flaws where there are none, and will give them a reason to stay away from their families, whether it's for a short time or for good. For fun, they would ignore and try to control other people, spread rumors, and make trouble. A narcissist's happiness doesn't depend on the quality of the relationships they keep up. They aren't happy when things are going well for other people. Instead, they want drama and uncertainty. Narcissists eventually lose interest in all of their relationships because they don't value anyone, take others for granted, and are always looking for new ways to get what they want. The second problem is that they don't like their jobs or other parts of their careers, because not only do they lose interest in their relationships, but they also lose interest in the things they have done well. So, when a narcissist gets what seems to be the perfect job, it won't be long before they start to feel unhappy and angry about their situation. It doesn't take long before they start looking into all the other ways that the company could help them. The narcissist never knows what it's like to be valued in the right way. Even if they have all the degrees and the best job with the best perks, they are always looking for more. They would still feel like they're missing out on something, and that they should be getting more money or more benefits. Narcissists are known for jumping from job to job and career to career because of this. They can lose their jobs if they try to cheat the company or take advantage of it in some way. If they think they can get away with it, they will use dishonest methods to steal jobs or wages from the company. The only way a narcissist can stay in a job for a long time is if they are able to take advantage of the company. But even if they do that, they will still get bored and want more and more. Last but not least, narcissists are never happy with who they are. Because of this, the person's identity and character were made up. Also, they copy and steal other people's personalities, style of dress, and other parts of their lives. The narcissist's image is fake in every way. They are some of the fakest people you will ever meet. They don't care about themselves at all. The way they are doesn't make them happy. They don't like themselves, so they end up disliking everyone and everything else around them. They put on fake smiles and talk a lot to hide the fact that they don't like other people and don't like life in general. On the other hand, when they are alone, they are sad, angry, and gloomy because they are unhappy. To sum it up, narcissists can't understand that success, financial stability, and good relationships with other people don't always lead to happiness. If someone is greedy, jealous, and self-centered, they'll never be happy or at peace with themselves. Because of this, a narcissist will never be happy with anything or anyone, even themselves. The narcissist's dissatisfaction with life seeps into every part of their lives. They are the only ones who will ever have to deal with this problem because they are narcissists. We have to stay away from them if we don't want them to blame us for their problems and bring their bad feelings into our lives. I guess that's all there is to say about today. I hope you learned something from this video. Please tell us what you think and what you've experienced in the comment section below. If you don't want to miss any new videos that are uploaded to this channel in the future, you might want to subscribe and make sure the bell icon is on.